George Allen on what Republicans need to say to counter this. Now, Governor, we heard Donald Trump already talk about this over and over again, and the one thing that he's got going for him is the fact that he's actually echoing what the vast majority of Americans feel right now.
Well, I think, Charles, first of all, it's great to be with you, and I think that there needs to be a reality check. And the reality is that people, and this is a Gallup poll, less than 20% are satisfied with the way our country is going. You have other polls that show that nearly 70% or more think our country's on the wrong track. Look, Charles, our country is the most competitive, entrepreneurial, innovative batch of people in the world, but the government's holding them back with non-competitive high taxes, and the regulatory burden coming out of Washington makes it hard for startups, and we see startup companies slowest rate that anybody can ever remember, and the reason is we need to rethink the red tape coming out of Washington. And because those regulations have costs and they're such a hindrance on a small business, say a small manufacturer, less than 50 employees, the cost is $35,000 per year per employee. That's just such an impediment on that. We want things made in the USA. So we ought to have a government that's on the side of innovators and entrepreneurs rather than...
And it's so interesting, to your point, that the debate has been about trade, free trade, fair trade, when in fact we create so many stumbling blocks here at home, new regulations costing over $100 billion a year alone. On that trade issue, Hillary Clinton was for TPP, then she saw the political winds weren't flowing that way, now she's against it. How does she come back around to the notion that this is something President Obama wanted, she helped him craft it, and now all of a sudden it's not good enough?
Well, it might be novel for her to be trustworthy and consistent rather than political. Look, our government also ought to unleash our American energy resources. That gives us a great manufacturing advantage. The countries that we have free trade agreements with, we actually have a trade surplus with. And so you want to cut down on barriers to the entry of American products and manufactured goods. And if we don't do it, China will be dealing with them. Hillary is just putting her finger in the wind and recognizes Bernie Sanders has those positions and tries to mollify him. But for the American people, our government really does need to rethink its red tape, make our tax code more competitive rather than the highest taxes in the world on businesses, and unleash our American energy resources. As far as trade agreements, they ought to be reciprocal. We ought to try to cut down on barriers to the entry of American manufactured goods and products, and that creates jobs here, made in USA products, and have them go into those countries rather than getting them from China.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable to say if you can sell your product here, we need to be able to sell ours there. That would be Trade Agreement 101, I think, Common Sense 101. Governor, thank you very much. I'll see you real soon.
See you soon. Training camp's opening today.
All right, cool. Hey,